how's everyone been? I hope everyone's had a good weekend. Anyway, what's everyone up to? Oh, what's everyone doing tonight? There's that right there. Okay, I do think I have kept you guys waiting long enough. So, grab your Storykeeper's cup, grab a blanket, grab a stuffy if you have one, grab a pet and snuggle up because it's story time. Hi, Dusty baby. Hi, welcome in. I crept to the top of the stairs and listened with every bit of attention I could scrape together in my panicking mind. A sound, a footstep, or my heart again? I closed my eyes and listened so hard it hurt. No, I wasn't imagining it. A footstep downstairs. Oh, I'm happy to see you guys too. I missed you guys so much. Reed, I called. Ow. Sorry, I have a sore on my lip from biting it, so you might see me wince a couple of times. And the neighbors decide to be loud now. Maybe he'd forgotten something and sorry, I choked on air. And come back inside. But there was no answer. My cell phone was downstairs and the battery was dead anyway. I tried to recall what time Mom texted about Jonathan driving back from Palm Springs. Something moved in my field of view, practically giving me a heart attack. Looking down, I saw a thin stream of water moving forward like a snake, trailing ahead toward the end of the hall. Almost as if the floor... I don't even know whose dog that is. If that's barking. Hang on, let me just adjust you guys a little. There we go. Where was I? As if the floor slanted downhill, which, of course, it didn't. I glanced back down the stairs, and as I did, the thought came automatically, don't be crazy, Willa. But you know what? This wasn't crazy. This was me trusting my instincts. The water reached the end of the hall and seeped under the door to Jonathan's office. I went on tiptoe, staying as close to the wall as I could, praying I wouldn't step on any creaky floorboards. Then, shattering the quiet, there came a cough from downstairs. I need to fix this cover again because it's fighting with me. And a dragging sound like someone was moving furniture around. I kept going. With every agonizing step, I was sure I was going to give myself away. Somehow, I made it to Jonathan's office and opened the door. When I saw the room, I gasped. The whole room was covered in the same two words, repeated over and over. Get out. The rose petals led to an open window. My brain just lagged. I deviated from the path just long enough to pick up the phone and hear the thick silence of a dead phone connection. Someone had cut the line. Yikes. I no longer had the luxury of agonizing over whatever I was overreacting. I hurried to the window. The drop was at least 16 feet, but there was a trellis bolted to the exterior wall below the window. I hear you, Dusty. Come here, baby. Sorry about that little intermission. Anyway, let's get back to it. I hurried to the window. The drop was at least 16 feet. But there was. I already read that, sorry. Where the jasmine bloomed so frequently at night. What? That didn't make sense. Some of the sentences in this book just don't make sense. It's so weird. I didn't have time to worry about whether it could support my weight. I swung my leg over and struggled to grip the tiny holes. With my toes, by the time I got to the ground, my bare feet were full of splinters and cramped from holding on so tight. But at least I was out. I crept around the side of the house, pausing to peer into the front yard. Unfortunately, there was no way to get through the front gate without coming into easy view through the huge den window. I don't know why I didn't notice that earlier. Oh. Where was I? If Jonathan was still in the house, I could run for it. But if he saw me and chased me, he would almost certainly overtake me. Why is she assuming it's him, though? I crept around the side of the house, pausing. I already read that. Jesus, I keep going back to things I already read. My brain's not working. I saw the front door start to open and darted back to the rear of the house, where he wasn't bothering to keep watch. He didn't have to, because he knew, like I did, that the only way out, or the only way into and out of the property, was through the front gate. The fence at the sides of the house were 8 feet tall, with metal spikes at the top, nothing to use as a foothold. Behind the citrus tree in the back, the hill house dropped off steadily. Sorry, I had the yawn there. Where was I? steadily into the ravine, littered with cactus that had spines the size of sewing needles. Even if I made it down there, it wouldn't make it more I wouldn't make it more than 5 or 10 feet, and then I'd be a sitting duck. Why hadn't I grabbed a pair of shoes? Yes. Yes, I am. He would have heard you. He would have known that what you were planning to do. I had to find some place to hide, some place where he wouldn't look right away. The guest cottage sat silently facing the pool, an imperial observer. I looked down, and in front of me, a single rose petal fluttered to the tile a few feet away. Another one appeared. I followed the square path around the side to the guest cottage, where there were 2 windows hidden from view of the main house. If I broke one, wouldn't Jonathan hear the impact of a rock on glass? As I looked at the window, it swung open. I overturned an old bucket that someone had stashed back there and used it to reach the window and crawl inside. I pulled the bucket in after me, then closed the window and locked it. I looked around. The main room was small, with the kitchen off to the side. Sorry, my brain is slowly shutting down. The walls were cheap wood paneling, and the carpet beneath my feet was chocolate brown and mashed flat, sprinkled with dust and small white flakes. Sorry. Fallen from the decaying popcorn ceiling. It felt strangely oily against my bare skin. At some point in its history, this had been a cute, functional little guest house, but now it was a creepy, smelly hole of a place packed with old furniture, a ragged, damp-looking sofa, a huge wooden cabinet with a little rounded glass, TV screen in it, a coffee table with crooked, spindly wooden legs. Every imageable surface was covered in junk, mostly cupboard boxes and bulging plastic trash. Oh, there you are. Hi, baby. Hi. You blend in. And you're so silent, too. Sorry, one of the cats is in here. The windows were all covered in brown paper, each one rimmed by a brilliant square of sunlight seeping in from behind the paper's curled up edges. To my left was a door that led into a bathroom. Next to it was a set of shutter-like accordion doors, a closet. As I stared at them, they opened with a creak. God, I am so tired. I'm gonna check something real quick. Okay. We'll try. Honestly, I don't even know why I'm surprised. Did I say a creepy, smelly hole of a place? Obviously, I meant a creepy, smelly, haunted hole of a place. No, I'm just really tired and I don't want to pass out on you guys, so. I walked over to the closet. There were shoes in there, a lot of them. Fancy, high-heeled, vintage-y looking shoes. Old enough to have belonged to Diana Del Mar. Not the kind of thing you'd normally wear on a hike through a ravine, but certainly better than nothing. My hair will not cooperate tonight either. But when I tried to slide my foot inside one, I realized that Jonathan was right. The movie stars did have tiny feet. I held one up and looked at the number on the sole. God, my brain is not working. Wake up, bitch. Damn. Size 5.5. I couldn't even force my toes of my size 8 foot inside. It was a mathematical and physical impossibility. Outside, a shadow passed in front of the papered over door. I knew he couldn't see me, but the sight still turned my blood to ice. I was standing motionless when the sound in the closet caught my attention. I looked over just... Sorry, someone's texting me. Same. Where was I? I looked over just as all the clothes slipped off their hangers to the floor. Then the 24 or so hangers began to swing, all at different speeds, making a horrible scraping sound on the ancient wooden door. Quiet, I hissed, darting over to the closet. I was about to pull them all down. I might be trapped in here, but at least I could keep Paige from telegraphing my exact location to an offer. My plan was interrupted when I saw the hinge. There was a hidden door disguised in the wood paneling of the closet wall. When I gave it a push, it opened easily, revealing a small, dark space. I reached my hand inside and found a light switch, flipped it on. A flight of stairs led down into absolute darkness. A biting scent floated up and invaded my nose. I turned away, my nostrils stinging, and remembered what... I keep forgetting that I changed their names if I can't pronounce it. What Leah had asked me. What seemed like a weird question at the time. Whether I ever smelled the strong smell of vinegar. I did now. Gently closing the door behind me, I crept down the steps, which opened into a room roughly the same size as the room upstairs. On the far wall was a small pulled-down movie screen, like the kind you use in classrooms, with an overhead projector. A small olive green leather sofa, wake up, motherfucker, damn, faced the screen, and a rolling cart directly behind the sofa held an old-fashioned film projector. This must have been Diana Del Mar's workshop. I remembered Paige's blog entry about her. How she had wanted to make movies. In this room, Diana didn't have to be a smiling Scarlet or box office person. She got to be who she really wanted to be, a filmmaker. Close to me, there was a large table that looked like some ancient version of a computer with a screen in the back raised up like a monitor. On the flat part of the table was an array of buttons and control dials. There were also 6 big, flat, turnable pieces. 2 of the turnables held a film reel each, and the film wound through the spools on the machine, found one of the other connected to them. Give me 1 second, he's moving all kinds. Are you moving? Yeah. Oh. Mwah. Here, I'll just do baby. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Come here. There you go. Is that more comfortable? Yeah. Is that more comfortable? What you staring at? Oh, the big yawn. Yeah, this one's Fluff. He is one of the sweetest. You are so sweet. You know that? Anyway, back to the story. Now that I have a little co-host. It must have been an editing machine. The kind they used before everything was edited on computers. Next to the table was a small rolling cart with a metal rack that stood about 5 feet high. Curling pieces of film hung from the rack's thin metal hooks like snakeskins. Oh, the big yawn. You're so sweet. I walked toward the desk on the side wall. It was sturdy, constructed of heavy steel. Oh, really? On it were a typewriter and a telephone, and a few piles of paper. There was a tray marked IN and one marked File. Oh, you leaving? Oh, you leaving? Yeah, are you leaving? Oh, I guess not. Oh, the biscuits. Oh, there you go. His claw got stuck. Poor baby. The biscuits. Ow. Gentle biscuit. No, you don't have to leave. He gets so upset when his biscuits hurt people. That's why we're trying to teach him gentle biscuits. He's still getting the concept a little. Okay, where was I? And one marked File, and another marked Read. I reached toward the typewriter and tapped out a series of letters on the dusty keys. QWERTY. The E on the page was slightly lower than the rest of the letters, the T slightly raised. This exact typewriter had been used by Diana Del Mar before more than 70 years ago to write the script Paige had presented to me in the bathtub. I picked up the phone to check for a signal, but the line was dead. It probably had been for decades. In the corner of the room, there was a simple door painted the same drab color as the walls. I tried the handle, but it was locked. As I turned back to the stairs, the lights cut out. I stood in perfect, horrific darkness for about 3 seconds, and then with a groan, the editing machine came to life behind me. The film reels began to spin, and the movie scene appeared on the screen. Ow. Oh, it wasn't you, honey. It's fine. It wasn't you this time. It was a man and a woman sitting at a dinner table set lavishly with flickering candles and a huge vase of roses. The woman was played by Diana Del Mar herself. There was no mistaking her radiant heart-shaped face and her shining eyes. The man was played by an actor I didn't recognize, a handsome man with dark hair. There was no sound, but you could feel the tension between them. The camera slowly moved in on Diana Del Mar, as she took a sip of her wine. Then it cut to the man watching her carefully. Diana was speaking. They they conversed for a minute, and then the man spoke a single angry line. The shot cut to Diana. She stared into her wine glass and said something quietly, and then her mouth moved in the shape of words I'd know anywhere. This is the kind of dream you don't wake up from, Henry. I'd known it was coming, but it still stopped me cold. This was the scene from Diana's movie, the one Paige had written all over her blog. I searched my memory for the film's title, The Final Honeymoon. Pages are fighting me. On the shelf next to the table was a stack of empty film cans. The ones that had held the reels that were loaded on the editing table. I picked up one and looked at the label on its top and read, The Dinner Party, working title only. I'd heard the name before, but where? Then it hit me, from Reed. It was one of the movies he'd listed as his favorites. But it wasn't even the real name of the movie. It was only a working title. One that even Paige hadn't known. Which meant Reed had been down here. He'd seen this movie. He'd heard that line. What if he's the criminal? Suddenly, there was a jump in the action on the film. Diana's character was standing up from the table holding her wine glass. The camera was close on her dazed eyes. The glass slipped from her hand. She stumbled, trying to walk away from her chair. It made it almost all the way out of the dining room. Sorry. Out of the dining room before collapsing to the ground. The man watched her with a small smile. It was an offing scene. She was dying. Henry had poisoned her. It was the scene I'd seen references to in my vision. The one Paige had been meant to perform. It was supposed to be Paige's offing. Only something had changed. This wasn't how Paige died. The film stopped with a jerk and rewound itself, then started playing, so I had to watch Diana recite the line again. This is the kind of dream you don't wake up from, Henry. It made me think of Marie's line that she'd used so proudly. He's no gentleman. And just thinking that gave me an uncomfortable twinge, like the one I'd had on the stairs earlier. That feeling of overlooking something important, of a piece of fitting in the puzzle. Weirdly, I thought of Reed, and it occurred to me, why hadn't he been surprised to see me? I mean, yes, he was surprised to find me carrying an alleged dead bird in a shoebox, but he shouldn't have expected me to be at home. As far as anyone but Marie, Wyatt, and I knew, I was at Marie's house for the weekend. Then my heart seemed to slow to a stop as I remembered his words in the garage that morning. I guess I'm no gentleman. It was too similar. Marie's words, he's no gentleman. Had Reed been watching Detour? Maybe Reed knew I wasn't at Marie's house because he knew Marie wasn't there either. I glanced back at the frame frozen on the edited machine. Diana Del Mar's face in a stricken expression of regret and sorrow. Reed called this one of his favorite movies. What if those weren't Jonathan's files I'd found on the computer? What if they were Reed's? And with that thought, the pieces came smashing together with a deafening, horrifying impact. Reed was an insane, psychopathic offer. He'd offed those girls, and now he was after me. And that, my beautiful, beautiful raindrops, is the end of chapter 32. I will be back, hopefully tomorrow, with chapter 33. Please do tell me your thoughts and theories in the comments. I am always in those comments, and I love hearing your thoughts and theories. But until then, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, my beautiful raindrops. Stay spooky, stay weird, stay dreaming, and don't let the Mave Cats bite.